Hi there, and welcome to the last stream for the week. And we are back to solving puzzles. The idea here is so we are playing with black pieces, and looks like I've already played this puzzle. Let me just refresh the page. Yeah, okay. hmm So it's black to move. Queen c2, check. The only move is king a1, and then knight b3, pawn b3, and then what? Um, hmm. Okay, let's see. Queen c2, king a1, queen a2, king a2, rook c2, check, and king a1 and then knight b3. Yeah, looks good. Okay, we started off with some on a good note. Let's continue. Um, so the idea is to reach 2550 here, and then we'll see how to go about today's stream. Okay, so let's see. Rook d7, queen d7, bishop f2, check, rook f2. I guess rook d7 is pretty forceful here. Rook d7, because if I go to c8, that's bad because of the potential discovery. And if I go to h8, he just captures back on c5, and then black doesn't have a lot to offer. But queen d7, let's say, after that, sorry, rook d7, and now he has two ways to capture. Let's say queen d7, forcing a check on c7 followed by a mate. So after that, I do have bishop f2, rook f2, or maybe queen d7. No wait, rook d7, queen d7, and then I can play queen g2. That's mate, yeah, because the rook on f2 will be pinned. But queen d7, rook d7 is also. However, queen d7, sorry, rook d7, rook f8. But I have got queen f8, rook f8, rook f8, queen f8. If I capture back on f8, rook comes back, and then it's almost a mate. So there are some back rank issues. Yeah, so after rook d7, he will not capture, he'll rather give me a check on f8, and rook f8, queen f8, bishop f8, and rook f8 is mate. I mean, prolong it with rook d8, but yeah. So rook d7, rook f8. What about rook d8? If he captures on g8, I capture back. Yeah. And then I have an extra piece here. Should we? I mean, I think rook d7 and rook d8 should be the move. Okay. So, what's the move here? Bishop takes. And now this. And what's the issue with rook d7 and rook d8? Let's see. Check and rook d8. Yeah, I can capture my rook, my bishop as well. Awesome. Okay, so an endgame puzzle. Only if I could play something like king e5, then the pawn would fall, and I have some chances. Oh, let me just make some changes. I can play c5, check, and that would force him to go to king e4. And then maybe let's say c6. If captures, I capture back, and then maybe he can go for d4. I can. Yeah, I think this looks good because it keeps away the king from where the action is happening. c5 and c6 are my ideas here. But take, I really don't have anything. Let's start with this, and now c6 is very interesting. If captures, I not only improve my pawn structure but also put my king in Zugzwang. And if I play c4, cannot take with the b pawn, cannot take with the, or maybe yeah. So if I play c4, he has to capture with the d pawn. Then I capture back, and then he captures back, and then I can play king c5. But then king d3 and c3. But c6 looks good here. There's no reason not to play it, at least in my opinion. c6. But I'm afraid of d4. Yeah. And now I come here. c3, c6, yeah. Okay. So I can, wow, I have to be aware of this knight, this pawn on g2. I can capture with check, and after something like king h5, working, let's say king g5, I can play knight f4. Or should I capture with the rook? Because my knight is closer to the center of the board, so my idea is to play knight g6 check. If king comes to h5, then my knight is hit. But if I capture on g7, sorry, on g2, king g5, and he wants to, and let's say king f3, and then maybe king f6, king e4, and he reaches the pawn. Maybe I should capture with the knight here. And now king e4. If he plays king f6, I play king d5, I hit the knight and then maybe secure the pawn. And now king d6 looks really good, I believe. Yeah. Okay. So yes, three pieces I have, so I can regain the piece with pawn takes f6, check, queen e7, let's say bishop e7, I just capture back. Let's start with this, the easiest of all. Now if I take on g7, king g7 is bad because of queen e5 and I win the bishop. Pawn g7, king g8 has to be played. And now bishop comes to e2. But what's the problem? If bishop e2, he can probably double up with something like queen e6, but I've got queen e3, captures, pawn captures, rook captures, and then I can play something like, yeah. Also king d2, sorry, king d1 can be an option. Um, let's go. I'm not sure if he's going to. I don't see how he's going to go for this attack. However, he can go for if I play bishop d2, he can play d6, hit my queen. Let's say the queen goes to c3 then, yeah. And then even if he plays bishop g4, I can capture on f6, king takes, and then play f3. Yeah. But then we can't really castle if I play bishop e2, knight c3, and then maybe I can. But if I play bishop e2, just got queen b2 and queen c3 is there. Yeah. Is it king d1? What's the problem with bishop e2? Let's see. Oh, I didn't see this bishop a6 move. And now there are different ways. Just this should also do the trick here. So what about queen e5? I threaten a mate in one. If he plays f4, I just capture, right? The other simple move is bishop h2, king h2, and then I win. But then I'm just winning a pawn. But with queen e5, I think I'm winning an entire piece there. Because even if he plays knight f3, I just capture. Bishop captures, and then I can castle. Hmm. If I capture on after g6, bishop g6, pawn g6, and then there is no queen h5. The knight takes. What's the move there? But what's the issue with pawn takes? Sorry, pawn g6 here. He can come back. Oh, because now if I capture, he has got rook there. So earlier it was not possible because of the bishop. But now I can still go for this move, but then I don't have my king on e1. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so it's it's black to move. This is for real. I mean, I have a lot of pawns. Bishop d8, rook d8. I think I have 5 pawns, which should be enough. Bishop d8 has to be played here. And then h2. Or maybe if I play something like h4. Yeah, the rook is tied up. But then he has this check available. And then if I play king f3, he just gobbles up the pawn. h2 forces the rook to go to a8. h4, he captures. h3. But then he can do something like f4. But then king comes here. And then rook check is there. Okay, let's go for a2 here. And now On a3 check is not possible. I didn't see that my pawn is on b4. I can push for h2. If rook h8, then it's a problem. So maybe king f3 first. Yeah. Okay. So my opponent has to be in one of these squares. e5 looks good because pawn e5, king e5. If he plays h5, I can go for d6. Yeah. If he plays g4, captures, and then I can just simply play king f4, right? But what about d6 right away? Because that takes away the e7 square, and it kind of right now my king on f5 and my pawn on h3 has kind of taken care of the king side pawns. So maybe d6 looks good because then he can't access any of these two squares, any of these three squares. My bad, these two squares. Yeah. Maybe then he has to go to e8. Yeah. If I play d6, you can play something like h6, but then I play e5. Captures, I capture. Back. I can play e5. Let's go for d6 first. Oh, is it e5 then? Yeah. Okay, so you're playing with white pieces here. My king is in check. So if I just capture on h3, he will capture with queen h3, or maybe he'll go for something like, yeah, maybe he'll just capture on h3. Um, but then I get to play queen e5. I think I can capture here. Yeah. And now, what is he exactly threatening me? He has to involve his rook somehow, because he can go for queen g4, and then maybe king h2 or h1, then he can just shuffle. That could be one way. Or maybe queen e5, g4, and I can just bring my queen here. And now I can go for something like queen d5 check, hitting the rook on a8, but then he has got king h7. And then I can capture on e4 check. But then he can play rook pawn g6 maybe. But then in fact, rook e4 check, queen e4 is met with rook g6 double check. Yeah. Now he's threatening me to go for this check on g6. Yeah. Queen d5 check, king h7, bishop f4, rook g6, bishop g3. His rook is hit, his pawn is also hit. And I can also play bishop f4 directly, but I believe queen d5 is better. I still keep the rook under attack. And if he plays queen e6, I just capture. No, wait. Queen d5, king h7, then bishop f4 is not possible. Because, yeah, the queen is not on e5 anymore. So maybe bishop f4 directly. Or I can also go for queen h2. If g4, I can just hide here, but then he can do something like rook h5 maybe. So bishop f4. is it queen h2 then? And what about rook d6 check here? That's, oh yeah, wow. Hmm. Rook e6. Let's say queen e6 because that's better. That attacks the knight and also take care of any sacrifices along the g6 square. I also have knight f5, pawn f5, pawn bishop f5, and I'm attacking h7. How do you defend that? Maybe knight g5, but I first capture and then I capture back. As knight h5, knight f5 is met with knight f5, pawn f5, bishop f5, knight g5. Also, this pawn is pinned, right? So maybe let's say bishop g6, but he always has knight g5 there. So maybe knight g6, pawn captures, bishop captures. Oh wait, knight g6, pawn g6, rook e6, queen cannot capture, bishop e6, and then bishop g6. How do you defend h7? Let's go for this. This is bishop g6. Now this check. What is this? Okay. Maybe let's aim at getting a 25 gain first. Yeah, so knight f7, king f7, queen g6, check. King g8 is bad because there's a mate. King f8, but then queen g7 is also mate. Yeah. It is knight f6 work, knight f7 work. Maybe it has to do something with this. Yeah. Or just capture this way. Yeah. Okay. Um. King f3 is met with rook e2. What about king f1? Let's see captures on h2. Yeah, that's fine. I would love to play my rook to f3. So maybe king g1. If he captures on h on let's say a2, then rook f3 is there, and there's no way to defend the mate. What is the move here? I think I have to pay some attention to the puzzles. I don't know, I just Seems like I can't solve puzzles on stream. Or maybe not that much of efficiency, I should say. So there are a lot of. Wait, I'm having a severe headache. Oh. So here's a rook, I have a rook. We both have equal pieces, but he has got 4 pawns. I have got 5 pawns. So I'm up 1 pawn. So what? Oh wow. There could be some mating ideas here. Right now I can capture on f2. But what can white do? Because knight e7 is there. The other idea could be knight d4. Rook d4, rook d4, bishop d4. But then I get to play rook f2. Yeah. Because with knight d4, I'm threatening him some. Let's say I get to play 2 moves in a row. Knight d4 and then rook f2 check. King goes to, sorry, rook c2, king goes to b1 and then knight a3 check. The king goes to a1. And then rook f2 and there is no defense for knight c2. That would be a mate, yeah. But so maybe knight d4 is then the idea here. What is it? Oh yeah, is it? But what? Why can't I play knight d4? Yeah, he has to capture that. Oh yeah, rook f2 is now my bad. Okay, so we started out with 25-20 and now we are in 24-76. That's a fall for like almost 50 points. Now, if I capture on h3, I'm threatening rook h1, king g2, and queen f3 or h2 mate. So how does he respond? Rook h3, let's say goes for rook e1, rook check, king comes up and that's mate. So rook h3, he has to move one of his knights. Let's say move his e4 knight to g3. That defends, right? So maybe knight comes to d4, bishop b7, knight e2 check, queen e2, rook h3, let's say f3, rook h1 check, king g2 and yeah. But after knight d4 he can capture knight d4 and then we play bishop and then my rook is also hit. Yeah, bishop d5, queen f3 and then I can also capture back on e4. Queen has to go to g3 because otherwise there might be some ideas of mating my opponent's king. Um, but then I can capture back because this diagonal has opened up. Maybe yeah. Now on this knight check, because it opens this diagonal as well. And now rook h1 check. King g2 and queen f3 is mate. Why isn't this working? Check. Oh wait, I can't play, but then I can play queen, but then he gets to play this move, so maybe I have to capture back. Yeah. Wow. I was so close, still lost the puzzle. That damn bishop of b7. Okay, let's see. Bishop a4. I improve my bishop's position. Check. Let's see, the king goes to. Wow, I'm having a severe headache right now. I guess I have to stop this stream right here. I'll just solve this puzzle and then move on. Let's make sure I solve this one. Bishop a4, king b5. Is there, but then I don't achieve anything. And knight e4, bishop. Let's knight e4, pawn e4. And then what? I don't get anything there as well. Mhm. Also, there is no way to. Oh wait, knight e4, pawn e4, bishop c2. If he captures, I capture back, and then I win that pawn. So, knight e4, pawn e4, bishop c2. You can play bishop d5 there. King d2 and king c3 is the idea to defend, to attack the pawn. I'm not sure how to go about this. Let's take my chances with this. Okay, well, is this? And now what? How do I mean, I don't get it. What do I play now? What's the idea behind this? But why can't I just capture initially? Pawn captures. If I do this, he gets to play this maybe? Bishop check, yeah, then my king's position is back. Okay, I guess let's call it a day. It has been a pretty abrupt stream, but I don't know, I'm having a severe headache right now. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you liked what you saw, then